Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to the series of Authenticity and Inclusivity, where we did a 10 plus 1 week. Yes, last week we did an additional one on based on personality traits and the saboteur. Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to the series of Authenticity and Inclusivity, where we thought that we will, when we finish those personality traits and saboteur, those voices that we hear, the negative voice, we thought this life is not just about negative and about default. We want to move from the unintentional to the intentional. So that's why we're going to cover from today to another 5 more weeks, which is a total of 6 weeks, to talk about the sage perspective and the sage power. And these are based on the positive intelligence concept. We will cover a little bit of personality, and then if there's any questions, please drop in the comments, and we love to hear your questions, and we'll try our best to answer them. Lucy, maybe before we go into that, let me just come back to this thought about our personality is a so-called unintentional default, the way we kind of prefer. Well, I like to be with people. I like more tasks. I'm more quiet. I'm more whatever. It's our personality traits, right? So it's not about right or wrong. It's just about our personality. And then when you add on to that, the saboteur, the negativity voice, what we're trying to do, like in the PQ concept, we have this thing called the forks in the road. That means there's two paths in your brain here. And generally, there's a default one that go to your left side. But now we want to be intentional and recognize and move from the negativity into that positivity. And this is what we're going to cover in the next 6 weeks. And Lucy, and I'm going to hand it to you and talk about that. What is that sage perspective we're going to cover today?
Thank you, Aries, and thank you for inviting me and having me. And thank you, everybody who are watching or listening and tuning in and learning about this concept of positive intelligence, and also kind of increasing your self-awareness and emotional intelligence in a way for yourself, and becoming a better leader and a better friend, and also increasing your chances for having a more empowered life for yourself, making intentional decisions rather than just being hijacked and reacting to certain situations and stimulus. Just like you've mentioned, that a lot of times, unfortunately, we are even not aware that we are hijacked when we are making decisions, when we are taking action, that we have a choice, that we don't have to feel bad all the time. We don't have to feel angry the whole day when something in the morning happens, that we have the power to actually change how we feel. We have the power to also change our relationships, our well-being, and with the sage perspective. So whenever we get hijacked, as we call it, hijacked by our survival brain in a way, and we call the different patterns or different ways how we can be hijacked different saboteurs in the positive intelligence language. So whenever we get hijacked, so meaning we feel an intense negative emotion, it doesn't have to, it could be on a scale, it could be just judging, it could be we feel fear, we feel anger, we feel resentment. That's usually a sign we are being hijacked by one of the saboteurs, as we've discussed for many weeks. And what do we do now? That's the question. So one of the first steps is to become aware we are actually hijacked, and pause. Don't take any decisions, don't say anything, just pause. Take a few deep breaths, and there are different techniques in the positive intelligence to do so. But basically reconnect with your body, with your senses for a moment. And then as you're pausing and really taking the time, it could be also after the event something happens. Our tendency is to say, oh, this is bad that happened. And the sage perspective is it really pausing and reflecting? It could be, there is the accept and convert first, like the path in the road. Can we, instead of looking at the bad, think, what are some gifts and opportunities that would come out of the situation? We don't have time today to go into the salient story that we usually use. That might be for some other time. But what are some gifts and opportunities here? And I feel I've been talking a lot. So how does it sound? Any questions? Anything you want to add onto this so far before I go to the 3 gifts?
I just thought, based upon what we have shared so far, is I've heard about the pause and the recognize, and which is what we did in that 11 weeks. It's about recognizing what's happening when you're feeling all that emotion, the negativity, the frustration, the anger, whatever that is. It could be because you need to stay in control, you need to be just perfect, or you need to make people happy when people are not, you don't get that full 100% or whatever percentages appreciation, lightning, or control, or achieving, or sureness, safety, all that comes about. So saboteur is all about the bad about it, and the motivator is about being bad and being, if you don't do this, you'll get it, so you better do it. So yeah, I better do it. So it's like a lot of push, and most of us actually, sad to say, as humanly speaking, our motivator is more of a push than a pull. I would like to maybe extend a little bit. Let's say just a job situation. Maybe that's easier to understand, because I ever talked to the client, he doesn't really understand. So imagine there was you have a job and you're quite happy with a job. And then there was an opportunity that came out, was slightly better. And most people, I would say, will be like, should I go for the job? And then most people will stay on the job. Some will go on, because if their motivator is a pull, they will go. But if the motivator is a push, they will not go, because they're happy where they are. So why should they want to go? So that is a pull. But a push means there's something that's bad happening at your workplace. Well, you want to go, yes, you can't stay on. Your boss is so nasty to you. Every day is making your life hell. Of course you want to go. So that is a push. So we all tend to be operated from that push. And saboteur is kind of like a push motivator, which is why we are all very comfortable with it. So what I'm trying to say is, let's find a better motivator that doesn't push you but pull you. And so, which is that part of your brain, the stage that live in that region of the brain where we are clear-headed, we can see bigger picture, we know where we're going, we have that creativity, we have the positive emotion. Sound great, right? It is. Which is why we want to talk about it. We don't want to just give you all that, oh God, life is so horrible and miserable. So we want to move away from that and saying that all those is something that we will all have. Just like your personality, there's no way none of us can have no personality, whichever kind of one that you are inclined toward to, but we can all move to this stage together. And it's about the recognizing, the pausing. And we talk about the stage perspective. There's 3 stage perspective, which is the it's like in every situation that happened to you, how can we kind of see or turn it around into a gift and opportunity? When you look like, oh God, it's bad and it's bad and it's still bad, how can you see it as a gift? So the 3 gift is, what are the 3 gift? 3 gift is, one is the power, the inspiration, and the knowledge. Yeah. Maybe we start with the knowledge one, the easier. So Lucy, do you want to have a go and tell us more about this knowledge, the gift of knowledge?
Thank you. So what is the gift of knowledge? So when, let's say an example in sales situation, when we didn't close a sale or we were down, let's say if it's a business owner, in corporation, it could be the project wasn't finished on time. There are delays. So, and our tendency, this is bad, it's going to be bad. What is the gift of knowledge? So we pause and reflect, ask ourselves or ask our team, what is something that I can learn from the situation that could help me move forward even better? So in the example of sales, what can I learn from this about the market, about the customer? In the example of the project, what got in a way? Can we predict that moving forward, let's say? Can we minimize the risk moving forward? Is there anything that we can learn from this so the next project is going to be done on time? or not even the next project, this project right now, what do we need right now that would help us move forward based on the data that we have access to now. So instead of looking at this as bad, looking with more of a discernment, what happened? What is the data? What can I learn from this? What comes up for you?
What I'm hearing is, instead of looking at that, what's right in front of me, oh, this situation is bad, we are screwed up, we lost money, or whatever the projects, everybody's unhappy, everybody have some issue, is look beyond that, as in, what can I gain? And it's like kind of a payoff, right? Because through this bad, horrible things that happen now I know what in the future I can do that will going to be helping me. So it's what I gain from it, and gain of that knowledge, that so-called the data.
Yeah, and what came up for me as you're speaking, I remembered one of our previous conversations somewhere else about mistakes and errors and the culture around them. So in a way, we can even celebrate our mistakes. Imagine that. Let's say Sarah Blakely, she mentioned the story that the founder of Spanx, that her father used to ask them, her and her brother, in the morning or in the evening, tell me about your failures. Tell me about what embarrassed you. Instead of looking at it, oh my God, this is something really bad, he actually encouraged them to celebrate those, because they are learning something new. That means that they are growing. What a beautiful sage perspective there, and reframe. And that definitely helped her in creating some amazing results for herself and the company.
You know, this brings to mind thoughts that we, I would say most of us, maybe nearly all of us, are afraid of failure. The fear of failure is so high that we will probably try all ways and means to avoid it. And with that come the judging ourselves. Oh, how can you just not do this right? It's impossible. You've done this before, whatever. Or you're comparing, say, oh, the person can do it, why can't you do it? Yeah. Or you're always been better than the person, of course you can do it. And then the other complete saboteur start coming in and kind of judging you. But if you come from that stage, the knowledge is like, yeah, I may not do well, I fail, but actually, if I haven't failed in this, I haven't through this failure gained the knowledge, the next round, I won't be able to do it. I'll probably be still failing again. It's actually seeing beyond that failure and realize that the failure is part of that, I don't know what's the word for it, but it's kind of part of that
process.
Journey. Yeah,
in a way.
Yeah. Again. It's like science, in a way it's like science, right? So science is after or lab or experiment that keep testing and testing, and then finally they found, oh, this work. If you ask them, you have tried many different ways, didn't work, they'll say, no, we didn't try many ways that didn't work. It's not about failure. We just try other way that didn't work, and now this way work.
I love that.
And if they haven't tried this other way, they probably would have found this particular best way to work. Knowledge.
Exactly. And it brings up the idea is looking at things as experiments, instead of I have to do this, otherwise I'm going to be a complete failure, and really absorbing that and connected it with our identity, instead of looking at, oh, this is just an experiment. I'm exploring what works and what doesn't work. And it doesn't have anything to do with my sense of worthiness as a human being.
I think we have kind of jumped into the gift of power. I would say it's not the identity, because we have always relate that negative emotion, that need have a safety environment, I need to be kind of perfect, and etc. as part of who we are as an identity. Even personality traits, we kind of identify that as our identity. I'm not saying a personality trait is not, but the reason is called personality traits is because it's a trademarks that you kind of display yourself. And there's a lot of that, like a loop. The more you do something, the more you reinforce you are that person. So of course, we're not going into that whole realm of conversation about belief and everything. But you also need to understand that, of course, there is a preference. There's a lot of also not recognizing what that is doing to you as a person. Yeah. So I think we have kind of jumped in a little bit of the gift of power, where there are 5 sage power, which is the empathy power, the explore, the innovate, the navigate, and activate. We will cover those in more detail in the subsequent weeks. But today we just want to give you a very, very quick favor what they are like.
So let's say an example for what could be an example of having a gift of power. You know, it could be, well, let's say COVID, we've all been through it. And a lot of people could have said, you know, this is really bad. This is really bad, what was happening. And what sometimes is still happening. So when we tap into the sage perspective and ask ourselves, what is a gift of power, in a way, how this situation, circumstance, event, how this could grow myself in any of the sage powers. Let's say in the power of empathy comes to mind in this situation. You know, a lot of people are going through a lot of pain. I'm in pain. This is really uncomfortable. And really having compassion and growing and practicing the power of compassion in a way. That could be one of the gifts when we are going through something painful, to really improve our skill of compassion. That's one example. Any other example that comes up for you, Aries, that you want to share?
I'm also thinking the empathy power is not just about showing self-compassion, which is important, especially when we meet difficult situation in life, which we all do, right? Challenging situation. Yeah. And when you don't exercise the self-compassion, you basically be beating yourself up, and then you get, yeah. But the empathy power is actually twofold, which I find very interesting. It's about when you have a situation, when you face somebody that is very difficult, very challenging, you are able to see beyond that surface of what is presenting, which is the behavior. When you act and exercise the empathy power, you can see beyond where the behavior coming from. I thought that was quite powerful, because most of the time we kind of take things at face value, as in if somebody is going to be shouting at you, what's your first reaction? This person's horrible. You won't say, oh, the person is shouting at me because the person has gone through so much and whatever, I cannot hear what is going on. You tend to like, we just react to it.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't pause. Well, it's like a pattern that's been working for some time, but actually there are some negative consequences. And that's why we are having these conversations. So we increase our awareness, so we can have more empathy and we can improve our relationships and well-being. Yeah, that's a great insight. It's almost like, you know, for others, when others in a way misbehave, we tend to label them. However, when we do something, we see the reasons behind it. But we usually don't pause to see, what could happen that this person behaves this way? And wow, they really must go through a lot of pain and suffering. Oh, Natalie is asking us. Hi, Natalie. Thank you for joining us. What are the 6 powers? Actually, 5 powers and the kind of the perspective. Oh, thank you, Aries, for typing it there.
So the sage perspective, the 3 sage perspective, knowledge,
the gifts.
Yeah, the gift of knowledge, and the gift of the power, and the gift of inspiration. Under the power, there are 5 power: empathy, innovate, explore, navigate, and activate. So what we just talked about was the empathy power.
And in the future sessions, we'll go deeper into each of them.
Yeah, because they're quite long to cover. We won't be able to cover them all in this 30 minutes, which is why we kind of just give you a favor. So that's empathy power. Like I say, there's 2 parts, not empathy with showing self-compassion, but it's also about empathy, looking at the other person, looking beyond their behavior, looking at where that so-called nasty behavior is coming from, and able to empathize with them. Yeah. What's the other one? So we talk about the explore power.
The explore. So should we talk about all of the powers, or should
I think we
we?
just quickly talk about it. We won't have much time. Then we talk about inspiration. And then, of course, I think it would be good to have a little bit of that personality. I will talk about it if you're familiar with what we have said before, the personality, right? We were just discussing before this is, we kind of simplify it by using these personality traits, because it's talking about extroversion versus introversion, task versus people. So the thing is, whatever personality you have, which is why we can see more linkage with the saboteur, is a kind of default pattern that we will kind of see more of that and the connection. But the stage is about the intention that you have about moving away from the default, moving away from I need to be perfect, moving away from I need to be in control, moving away from that, oh, I need to be safe. So if I'm not safe, my mind will be spinning around, the vigilance. Or I need to be rational. Anything that's not rational, I don't want to go there. They don't want to talk about emotion because it just felt that's too scary. And then the stage, you see, they're all fine because they're all part of who you are as a person. And the stage is making you feeling the calm, the peace, and it's all on that right side of your brain. Yeah. Lucy, you want to move on and talk a little bit about the explore, just quickly about the explore power, because we talk about empathy power.
Sure. So the explore power is really just like exploring from the name. It already implies what is it about, and having really the curiosity of looking at, just like when we looked at the example of dealing with a difficult person, instead of judging them, which is kind of automatic first reaction, looking at what is going on with them, that they're behaving this way, and really be curious, kind of the Sherlock Holmes, and open-minded, and ask questions. What else is there that I don't know? I had a conversation with a client yesterday when he was sharing, about conflict between two different departments. And they were saying, no, this is the regulation that we have to follow. And the other one, no, this regulation says something else. Well, luckily, they did explore and ask some questions. So they found out they were two different agencies that had competing regulations. So both departments, in a way, were correct, but their information didn't match. And thanks to their power of exploration and curiosity, instead of just fighting and saying, no, we are right, you guys are wrong, they managed to actually move forward in some more productive way.
As you're saying, there's something come to mind. There was this book that I read. It talked about I think using of questions or question change your life. You see, when we ask questions, we come from that I don't know, I want to find out. But most of us that work, especially in big corporates, I mean, maybe not even corporates, whatever organization, whatever kind of environment you work in, right? We are say that we don't come out with a question, we come with an answer. So everything that we see is like, oh, what can we do? How can we solve this? So we always think about solving the problem. And because the thing is, as a human being, our instinct come from the survivor instinct. So when you talk about solving the problem without asking the question, you jump straight into it without exploring and finding out more. So the exploring is about having that open-mindedness. What else have I not think about that might come about if I ask more questions or ask around? So and to ask, we need humility, to be humble to us, because if I know better, why should I know? Ask. Especially when you are moving up that corporate ladder, the more senior you are, the kind of harder to ask, because it's like, I've been here for so long, or certain designation, can I ask this kind of questions? So that get more difficult. So that is coming out from that. I think that explore power is a lot of not just it's curious, but also very humble and open-minded.
Absolutely. Instead of saying I know better, which sounds like the judge or the saboteur, being like, I really, from an open state, I'm curious what the other person has to say. Maybe I can learn something from them. And being more really open-minded.
I think we need to speed up a little bit.
I think so too.
Okay. So the next one is innovate. So I'm going very quickly. Innovate is just actually you see, more, again, same concept that we are talking about. Most of the time when we hear something, we tend to be go straight into, oh, this one doesn't work, you know, that's what we do, right? We want to be getting straight into something. But innovate is about, again, opening up and finding what is good and expand on that.
Love it. That's the creativity part in it. Yes.
Yes. We will go into detail in subsequent weeks, but today I want to go a bit fast. We've got 5 minutes. I haven't talked about inspiration power. So that is explore, innovate, navigate.
Navigate. So I would say the dominant personality styles might love that one because it's really looking at the bigger picture here. It could be when we are dealing with a different situation or some challenge, we can ask ourselves at the end of my life, looking at this situation, what would I wish what kind of decision I wish I made? What is really important? Looking at from the bigger picture, what really matters here? I see that you wanted to say something.
I find that in life is always about looking things from my perspective, my situation, what's happening now, right? So the navigate power is kind of asking you to look beyond and look at your life in more of like I say, at the end of a life. It's quite scary to look at the end of life, right? At the end of life, what is the most important thing here? What is it that what will your answer be now if you're able to look back? Because we don't look from the future of our life, we look from current to our future. So imagine you can look from the future to the current, what kind of power that is. So that is the navigate power. So that is extremely powerful if you can have that lens from the end of life to where you are now. What would that wisdom of that wiser self tell you that what's the best thing to do at this very moment?
Yeah, and it's a powerful question. And I would really encourage to be in that state, emotionally open, rather than stressed out when we are asking this question. Because when we are stressed out, it could be, I cannot make a mistake. I need to really figure out what is the thing. Could be possible opening for the saboteur to enter with this question too. Should we go to, so the last one is activate.
Yeah, as the word say, activate.
Taking action, moving forward.
It's not easy, right? But I mean, if we're honest, there are times in our life that we do struggle to act on something. And when we know that that's what we want to do, but yet we don't do it. Which is why some people like to find like a personal trainer. They not only train you how to use the machine in the gym, but they also check your accountability. And when you go there every week, you make sure that you go and make sure you do exercise, you keep up this accountability. But the thing is, so accountability is important. So is your action. If everything you think and then you plan and then you say and no action, what would that mean?
Yeah, no action, no change. So it's a powerful power of change in a way, facilitating true change by making things happen.
Taking action, yeah. See, sound the simplest, which I always think, oh God, just taking action. So what's the big deal?
Just do it.
So, but if you're a avoider and you have a traits of procrastination, then you know, yeah, that's probably the hardest power to have.
Yes, absolutely.
You can have all the wisdom, all the knowledge, but doesn't mean that you will do what you know.
Yes. They say knowledge is not power, but the application of the knowledge, that's where the power is.
I like this one. Application of the knowledge. And that's action. Do you apply? I need to put this down. Application of the knowledge. Yeah. Power of activation. Okay, the last one, the last sage perspective is inspiration.
So the gift of inspiration. So what would be a good example? Let's say if we had some health scare and we go to a doctor and realize, wow, I really need to take care of myself. So there's a gift of knowledge right there. And the gift of inspiration, looking at, I really want to be healthy, comes together with the activate power. Let's say really deciding that from now on, I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to change my lifestyle. I'm going to get more sleep and basically prioritize my health. Let's say, because I want to be there for long for my kids. I had a client that was her motivation for really wanting to change her habits. And so that is a power of inspiration, inspiring us for some change, for some a different impact. It could be impacting ourselves. It could be changing lives for the others. What comes up for you, Aries?
I have always thought this this inspiration's perspective is a hard one, hard as in because if what have not happened to you will not inspire you to do certain things, and it's normally very difficult one. I think the example given in the positive intelligence that we train in talk about this guy called Chris, what's his last name? The Superman guy. What's his
Yes.
that
yeah. he got paralyzed, actually. Yeah.
And then of course it's not going to be so easy when something bad, really bad happened to you, but it's over the period of time he recognized that what have happened, he can turn it around and use that as inspiration to help people. That's why I'm saying that is, to me, I felt that is the most difficult one, because you really need to have very strong muscle to build on the inspiration, because you must be able to use that, the bad things that happen to you really bad. For example, if you have a cancer, you lost one arm, you lost one leg, it's bad, right? No, I don't think anybody want to lose anything part of us or anyone that we love. But it's true that disasters or adversity that happen, you know it, and you have impact, and you through that you have the ability to do certain things. And if you, without the adversity that happened to you, you won't have the ability to do that. So which is why I found inspiration is a very heavy, very heavy perspective. Yeah.
Or it takes time. It might not come immediately.
Generally it won't come immediately because it's so heavy. It will take
time to explore and discover it.
How extreme is the adversity that have happened, but you can able to turn it around and do for good.
Absolutely.
We are 2 minutes past the
time. Wow,
we should wrap up.
Time flies.
So have anything you want to say, Lucy, before we wrap this up? On perspective,
I would always end with a question. So, question for all of you, any of you that are still here watching or listening. Pick a situation, let's say that's been stressful for you. Take a few deep breaths or walk, and to get yourself into a different state a little bit, and then ask yourself, what kind of gift or opportunity could come out of this situation that is stressing me out? Could it be some knowledge that I could learn? What can I learn from this that could help me forward in the future? What kind of sage power could I become more empathetic through this? Could I become more curious? What else could help me through this as a result of this situation happening? And the third one, is there anything that could come out as an inspiration? As Ari said, this could take the longest time. So you can just plant the seed of the question in your mind and see and water it. And one time in shower, you might get that the gift of inspiration at that time. Oh, thank you for writing it down.
Summarize it as a food for thoughts. Pick a situation, give yourself a little time and pause. What in this situation that you're in, what could you do to turn it into a gift and opportunity? The gift of knowledge, as in through this, what is that you've gained, and using what you gain in that knowledge and use it for the future. And what is the 5 power that you can tap in to help you to turn it around? And of course, last thing, how can this adversity, this bad, horrible, whatever that is, can actually inspire you to do more goods in the future for yourself, for others.
I love it.
And we want to thank you for listening to us. And we will see you next week. And we will get on to the 5 power. We start with the empathy power next week. Any
Looking
more
forward
questions?
to it.
Just drop on the comments and we will come back to you.
Awesome.
Same time next week then.
See you next time. Have a beautiful rest of your evening or day. Bye.
Bye.